Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to get started on doing the rear suspension bushings and the exhaust. I don't know if I'm going to get them done or not, but you know, I've got some time tomorrow too. But yeah, so that's the idea. Never done these before. Let's slide underneath and take a look and get an idea of what we're working with and hopefully do it. I can already tell you this is not going to be the most fun job on this car, just based on the amount of rust and shit back here. So we basically got, and I'm only going to show one side here because there's obviously duplicates. We've got a big bushing here, which appears to be held in by a plate there with some locking tabs on the bolts. So we'll have to knock those out and then take these two bolts out, and then hopefully that big bushing comes right out. The whole A-arm is actually going to have to come off. So we'll probably start with, I said A-arm, lower trailing arm is going to have to come off. So we'll probably start with that. We're still under spring tension here. So put a jack under here, lift the differential up, take the shocks off, take the limiting straps off, and then let it down far enough to allow us to pull the springs out. Then there's the torque rod here, right there, which runs from that bolt there to that bolt right there. So we'll pop those off, take those torque rods off, and there's bushings in either end of those. There's also a bushing in the front of the lower trailing arm there. And also the panhard bar has to come off here, which is connected to the body up there, and the axle over here. Some of these bushings don't look too bad. Honestly, like the panhard bar bushing doesn't look awful, but we're going to replace it anyhow. I'm gonna try and do this with the axle in the car because frankly, the brakes work at the moment, and I don't feel like trying to break this brake line loose without messing stuff up. So we're gonna try and leave that alone. Additionally, and able to let us get to all this, the exhaust is getting replaced. As you can see there, it's extremely rusty, falling apart, and has obviously been leaking around there. So we're going to, I was going to say unbolt, mostly probably just cut that exhaust off there. And over here, our hanger is just a just a hose clamp in between some rubber hangers. So yeah, we're going to get rid of all this and then replace it with a nice sport exhaust that I have sitting over there. So yeah, enough talking, let's get to it. First things first, we're going to zip off the wheels to get us a little more room to work under here. I was going to use a Sawzall for this, but turns out I don't have any Sawzall blades. So Quarter Band it is. Hopefully this will work. Let's see that work. Cool. And since we're getting ready to be working at awkward angles under the car for what will probably be a long time, you know what that means? Time for a time lapse. I just gotta share this with you. So yeah, this is why the rear suspension was clunking around. I mean, that is just incredible. That front bushing is gone. I mean, I've taken the bolts out of the back, but even the back was flopping around. Super bad. Anyway, yeah, back to the top. so I guess it shouldn't be any surprise that 60-year-old suspension is trashed, but this is almost impressive. So this is the lower arm. This side's the good side. See that the inner insert for the bushing there, it just falls right out. On the bad side, there just is no rubber. It's just gone. The pan-hard bushing, one of them basically came out by hand. These are the big bushings in the lower arms, and you can see they're just destroyed. So we're gonna head over to the press now, and we're gonna do, oh, and the torque arm bushing does the same thing. The inner sleeve just comes right out. But we're gonna head over to the press, and we're gonna put new bushings in all these. So stay tuned. One thing I've found helps is throwing the bushings in the freezer for a little bit to get them cold, to shrink them down a little bit. These have only been in here for 20-30 minutes or so, so it may not have helped at all, but you know, it makes me feel a little better. I'm also going to wipe some grease around on the inside where all the bushings go, just to help them go in a little bit Finally got all the bushings in with a little help from Bailey, and a little bit of frustration when things started to go sideways when I was trying to put them in. We got them. So I'm gonna slide back into the car and put the rear suspension back together. Enough time. All right, and that's the rear suspension done. Next up, since it's really not that late and I'm already fairly dirty, I'm gonna try and tackle the exhaust. We'll see how we do. I'm honestly probably not gonna video any of this because it's very simple. There's 2 bolts in the bottom of the exhaust there. And if we hold the phone just right, we can see there's a hanger down there off of the transmission. And then from there on out, it's just rubber hangers. So yeah, I'm just gonna get after this and then do a little quick video summary when I'm done. Oh, unfortunately, tonight ends in defeat. The rear suspension on a sedan coupe is significantly different than the rear suspension on a wagon. And the exhaust that I bought, the little sport exhaust, I kind of figured it was close enough. It turns out I was wrong. The over-the-axle pipe is nowhere close to clearing on a wagon. I could cobble it myself, but we have a pretty cheap exhaust guy that does good work. All right, so the end of that video was a little unceremonious. Obviously, the exhaust that I bought turns out was for the sedan, doesn't fit a wagon because of the rear suspension differences. So I'm just taking it over here to Tony at Allen's Auto Repair in Franklin. He's going to do a much better job on it than I could, and he's very cheap as well. But anyway, I do have got the downpipe and the resonator on, and it actually sounds kind of cool. So let's fire it up and see what it sounds like. And here we go. Listen to that power. thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Obviously, unfortunately, we didn't get the exhaust all the way done, but the major work of getting the rear suspension rebuilt, that's a big deal. It made a really, really big difference in the way the car drives, even in just the mile or mile and a half that I drove it down to the muffler shop. So with that done, there's not a whole lot more left to do in order to get the thing ready for mountain meet, which is in about 3 weeks. I have 2 weeks of work travel between now and then, potentially a third, I don't know yet. So my time is going to be very limited for what I can get done to the car, but I think we're in okay shape. Got a set of tires ordered up, which is it's good, because that was really just about the last of the money that I'd kind of set aside for this project for now. I'm funding this basically with mileage reimbursement checks from work and, you know, flipping stuff here and there. So most of the major purchases, I think, are out of the way at this point. At least the immediate need for purchases is out of the way. I also got some OEM replacement rocker panels for the thing. I may show those here in a minute, I may not. But yeah, so we'll get tires on it and get tags and insurance on it within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully Tony can get the exhaust done pretty quickly and for a reasonable price, which I'm sure he will. He does good stuff too. And apart from that, then it's basically bomb it, you know, the hour up the mountain meet and hope it doesn't overheat between here and there, because it is it's all uphill the whole way. So this should be a good test of the cooling system on that car at least. Really the only stuff left to do between now and then, I'm not going to touch the brakes. The brakes feel fine, they seem to work okay. I'm not going to tempt fate there because I do not have enough time between now and then to completely rebuild the brake system. I am going to replace the radiator hoses. I've got those. I'm going to put a new thermostat in it, and I'm at least going to make an effort to kind of flush out the radiator that's in the car. I had originally planned to just drop in an aluminum radiator unit into this thing. That is not going to happen. The one that I bought was supposed to be a new unit. Turns out it was used and cut on and bent up and everything, and even just the quality of the radiator originally did not look great, so that got returned. Yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much it for now. Once mountain meet is done, then I'll move it back into the shop and build some cribbing for it and start cutting away metal, which is kind of the big scary part. Yeah, but thanks for sticking around so far, and we'll have some more updates for you in the not too distant future. But as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments down below what you think the next thing I should work on for this car is.